wanted to start it first. So here today we will talk about the polymorphism. What is meant by polymorphism? This is the topic which we wanted to discuss today. Poly means many. Morphism, forms. There are many forms. What do you mean by many forms? Okay. You would be a single. So now for an example, you take, okay, I'll take, rather than someone example, I'll take my example or whatever. Okay, there is a candidate. Now this candidate will behave in, for an example, he's behaving with mother. He'll behave in a separate way. And when he's behaving with his friends, he will be separate. And when he is in professional life, he will be behaving some different. And he will be with his wife or with his girlfriend. Whatever the thing. If you see here, the behavior of the same person will it vary. Because with my friends, how I will be, I shouldn't be with my mother. So when I'm with my mother, I shouldn't be like with my friends. See, the same person would have a different behavior based upon the situation, based upon the person. Very simple, right? Now, behaving the same personality with a different ways, then this is called polymorphism. Very simple. Now, once again, you take any example. So you take any example. So now you are in class, you would be in a different form. When you're talking to your family, you will be in a different way. When you're talking to your friends, you will be in a different way. And when you're going for your work, you will be in a different way. Or you're talking to your close friends, you will be in a different way. But you are the only person, right? But you are behaving in a different forms, different ways. So this is called polymorphism. See, the other means if you go for any particular articles, the people will be taking the different forms is like, hey, means to communicate information, communication. So now what the people will do? Human beings talk, and cat will do meow, and dog will bark, lion will roar. You see, this is just a communication between those people. So between the respective community, if it is a human beings, they will talk. If it is a cat, or if it is a cow, it is a dog, or it is a lion, so it will roar. Now you see that the only point is communication. So how they wanted to do, they will have different forms of this one. So this is called polymorphism. Poly means many forms or many behaviors. For the same thing, if we have multiple behaviors, then this is called polymorphism. For the same thing, having multiple behaviors, then this is called as polymorphism. Okay, let's see what are the different forms of this one. In polymorphism, we will be having majorly two classifications. One is overloading and overriding. Now, what are the differences, or what do you mean by overloading and overriding? Let's talk about this one. The first one, overloading. What do you mean by overloading?
In same class, if we have same method names with different parameters or different data types, then it's called overloading.
So I didn't get okay. My question is not expected for the definition of this one. I expected normal meaning of overload. Okay, I host people. When the people came, so they can eat probably half biryani. Then I say that, hey, no, you came for the first time, you eat more. I give one biryani for you. Next, after one biryani, hey, you take another biryani. First biryani itself, he struggled to eat, and second biryani, he ate half. And I said, no, you need to take some more. See, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to overload him with the food. See, whatever the normal capacity, it was going beyond that normal capacity, then it is called as an overload. Now, this overloading concept in OOPS, where it lies is, it lies the scope of this one within a class. Inside I'm sorry, inside a class, this particular overloading concept would be implemented. And whereas overriding, this would be across the class. Across the class. And this is within the class. What exactly was happening? Now, there is a class called math class. Okay. In math class, now I'll be having methods, right? Add, subtract. Now what I'll try to do, in add, I'll be adding two numbers, and subtract, I'll be subtracting two numbers. Now I'll be giving it as int a, comma, int b. Now I wanted to give another method. I wanted to add with the three numbers. So now what I need to do, I need to create another method. So now even this is also addition. Now rather than having this one, so if you see this, I can have the same method name, but the number of parameters here, it is two parameters. Now what I'll try to give, I'll give three parameters, a, b, c, int a, int b, int c. Now, when I was creating an object for math, when I call add, obj math, right? Call math. If I given two parameters, means 100, 200, 200, then this particular method would be called. If I'm calling three, means if I given three parameters, 100, 200, 300, then this method would be called. So this is called method overloading. So how the method overloading, it should be defined is, within the same class, having the same method name with a different number of parameters and different data types. That's the most important thing. Everyone will forget only the number. So for an example, different number of parameters means I have two variables and even I have two variables. Now the variable count is same, right? But here it is integer and it is string here. That's the difference between this. That's a big but. So now if you see that it is integer, if it is a two variables and a three variables, it means that here it is an integer and here it is a string. So two, the both are same, but it is both different. Let's just give you 1 second, please. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's continue. Okay, so here, now when we have been seeing this for method overloading, okay, so now this is what we have done for the overloading, right? In a same class with the same name, with a different number of parameters and with a different number of data types, or with a different data types, then this is called method overloading. If you understand this particular pointer, this overloading can be done with two things. Method overloading, I told you. Now, in methods, we have another special type of methods, which is called constructors. So we can have method overloading and constructor overloading also with this. Method and constructor overloading, we do have it on this. Got it? So now let's see that particular implementation. So how this method overloading and the constructor overloading will happen. So did you understand? So I didn't come for the overriding. Let's talk about the overriding later. Now in the polymorphism, we're talking about overloading. Overloading is nothing but in a same class with the same method name, with a different number of parameters with a different data types, if you have the similar methods, then this is called method overloading. Method overloading. Any questions here?
Yes.
Now let's see back with the implementations so that we can understand it clearly. Before going to this one, any questions for this? And this is really one of the very important topic. So, because if you don't understand method overloading, many possible ways you will be getting stuck with it. I just wanted to share the screen, so I'm just trying to go with the Eclipse. I'll just try to open this. So all this polymorphism is one of the most important concepts which we need to use it. Now, coming back here I'll try to create a class for poly. So under this one, so I will be talking from the point of method over. So I created this one. Now this is my class, the simple class which I have been created. Now what I'll try to do, I wanted to create a few methods which I want to create. I'll take the same example so that it will be easy for you to get understand it easily. Public void add. So now here what I wanted to do, I wanted to add int a comma int b. S y s o. So here I will say that addition of I have been created. Now I wanted to call this one. So what is this method? What type of method is that?
Non-static.
So that I wanted to call this one obj object name. Okay, and call this. Now if I'm trying to call with this, so add method. So now I wanted to give the add, right? So now I wanted to 120 plus 500. So now here's the addition I need to do it, right? Now what I need to do for this addition, I wanted to keep this into braces A plus B. Okay. Now if I executed this one, I got my value 620. See, I made it a little bit faster because everyone knows that this is a non-static method I created, and that non-static method I created an object and then accessed it. That's it. Very simple. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to call with the same name. So now if you have the same name, if you have the same parameters, it will not allow me to do that. See, duplicate method. So now what I wanted to do here, now I wanted to add one more parameter, int c. Now if I given here plus c, now I'll call the same method here. See? Now I can call the method. Okay, if you see here, this method I have been called. Now when I call this particular method with this particular variables, two variables I have been called. The two variables has been printed over here. Now if I call with three variables, it will execute this particular method. Let's debug the program and then see it. Okay, so now, okay, so what I'll try to do, I'll try to create the constructor also so that it will, okay, first I'll explain this one, then I'll code the constructor. Now I wanted to do this one, debugging, right? Okay, now you see here, my cursor was here. Okay. If you see, my yellow colored mark is there, right? Now I wanted to give F5. As soon as I given with the F5, it went to this method. You see, because it had 2 parameters, it goes to that particular thing. Now it executes that, it printed it. Now you see the cursor here. Now by default, add is there. Now I have 3 methods. Now how the compiler will understand is, hey, this add have 3 methods, 3 parameters, so that it need to go for this. Now you see here, it went to here and it added this and it came back. So once again, I'll run this one. You see it. So now it went to here. It went to this method. It started to execute it. Now it will go for the next, right? You see here, now it went to this. Now it will go inside this one and it will try to print this one and then come out. So that is how in a same class with a different particular, with the same method name, with a different parameters, if I have, then this is called as method overloading. So compiler will understand based upon these particular parameters. Now for an example, I have this one with this same name once again, but now what it will be doing this is string now. See, I have 3 parameters here and here also I have 3 parameters, but the data type is different here. This is string and this is integer. Now, when I'm trying to call this particular thing, now if I'm trying to call here with this, instead of this particular variable, if I have written this one with the Chris, so this Chris, so then I'll be having this value. Okay, I just changed the braces. Terminate. So now let's once again debug the program. See, now it came to here. Now here, I just wanted to give and F6. Now you see here, it went to this add method. Now I have 3 adds here. Now into which add it will go. As soon as I click here, it went to the 2 parameter add. And then it executed that and then it will come out for the next time. Now you see here, now 3 parameter add, but 3 parameter add with string. So it will go inside that when you see, it comes to this particular method. And it started to execute this A plus B plus C. Now, and it printed 620 Chris. Now it comes to the next parameter, add 120, 500, 2000. Now it's a 3 parameter integer parameter. So now it goes to that method and then it will try to execute this particular thing and then it printed over here. It came back. That's it. This is called method overloading. Overloading. In a same class with the same method name with a different number of parameters or different number in different data types, then this is called as method overload. How simple is this? This is called polymorphism. Polymorphism. One thing having many forms. How? Add is one method. Same add performing, see, with the parameters, it was performing differently. The implementation of that particular add is different. The behavior, see, method is nothing but it's a behavior. Same person behaving differently. I told you, right? Behaving with wife, behaving with a girlfriend, behaving with the mother, behaving with the friends, behaving with the professional life. All things would be different. Same way, the add method with the different parameters, it will behave differently. So that is what the concept of polymorphism. That's simple. But the same way, when we have been seen it for a constructor, now I'll come back. So now we have been discussed about the method overloading. Now the constructor overloading. So now you see here, now this is the default constructor, right? See, now I'm saying that, hey, I am in default constructor. Done. Okay. Now, can I create the same constructor again? It will not allow you because even the constructors also shouldn't have the same name. Now, what I need to do? So here I can pass a parameter. What parameter I want to pass? I wanted to pass some string str name. So now I'll be saying that this is, you will not understand the importance of this one now, but when you get into the programs, you will understand a lot why we have learned all these things. You'll understand it. Okay. Now I have two constructors. Now this is also method overloading. This is called as constructor overloading. So now same name with a different number of parameters is called constructor overloading. Now if you wanted to add some more thing also, I'll be adding it. Another thing which is comma int roll number. So here name and roll number. So here I'll just take this one plus. I just added the roll. I just wanted to add this roll number also. I didn't do anything, guys. So just it is very simple. What I'm trying to do is here what I try to do, I explain the same method level, right? Now I'm trying to explain you at a constructor level. This is the default constructor. Constructor will have the same name as a class name, and we have been discussed a lot of things about the constructor. Please do refer the previous sessions to get more information on the method overloading if you require. So constructor information. Now this is method overloading. Now we created a basic constructor so that it will go to this constructor and it execute. If I have one parameter, then it will go to this constructor. If I have two parameters, it will go to this constructor. Let's see that. Now all this time we have been done with this, right? So now let's plan this one for this constructor. Now let's debug this program. In this particular program, if I start to debug, okay, the crusher came here. Now I just wanted to go inside the constructor. Now you see which constructor it pointed to, because
Default
I didn't pass any
Default.
parameters. It went to this particular default constructor, and then it went inside that one, and hey, I'm in default constructor.
Default.
It printed and it came back. Now the same thing, if I have been taken with multiple things over here, multiple constructors. Now what I'll try to do, object name shouldn't be the same. So now obj1 like similar thing and obj2 like similar thing. Now what I'll try to do here, I'll pass the name here, bond. Now when I have been given this is the name, and here what I wanted to give, here I wanted to give it that bond and comma 007. So integer which I need to pass it. So now if you see here, this constructor is taking the name because
String.
I defined a particular thing because it is a string, and then here that's another string with the roll number which I have been given the string with the roll number. Now let's see how this would execute now. So this particular program. So now if you go here, now when I started the debugging, so it comes to here, terminate that program. So now if I started here, now if I go to F6, now it went to this particular constructor. Based on, because it's don't have any parameter, so compiler know that which to execution knows that where it need to go. According to that, it went there and it printed, hey, I'm in default constructor. Now second time, now the crusher went to here. You can see that yellow mark here. Now I wanted to go inside the method. So now if I click F5, now you see it went to this particular constructor because it have a string parameter. Now when I went inside, the name it will start to print, and it was printing the name as a constructor bond. Now when I clicked again, so it went to the next line here. This is the constructor which it is having the two parameters. Now with this particular two parameters, so now with this particular two parameters, it need to execute that, right? Now it went inside. Now see, once again it went to this particular constructor which it have name and the roll number, and then it started to execute here. and then it started to print, hey, I'm in roll number bond 7. So 00 we have been kept in front of it. So that's the reason it didn't take it. So if you wanted it, it should be like a string. If you wanted to give it as it will print this. So now it executed that and then it came out. So based upon this constructor, based upon this particular parameter, it will route to the respective constructor, respective method, and then it will execute it, and then it will come out of that picture. So this is called as method overloading and constructor overloading. So just you need to see all these things will play around inside a class. Inside a class, if I have a similar method name with a different parameters or different number of parameters or different data types, then this is called method overloading. And if it applies to the same thing for a constructor also. Here also, if you see here, same method with a different parameters. Means same person with a different behaviors. Same person, here the behavior is different. Here the behavior is different. Here the behavior is different. Behavior is different means, see, now this is the behavior, right? The implementation, the method is nothing but performing some action. So now the action performing here, it is performing differently. Here it is trying to print name and roll number. It was printing only the name and it is not printing anything, many variables, just like this. So this is called as method overloading, and from this particular method overloading, it will start working to this. Any questions? Stop recording, you know?
No, sir.
All clear?
Yes, sir.
So guys, see, when you're seeing this one, you will feel that this is very easy and simple. But when you're implementing it, definitely that will change a lot. So be cautious and then practice well. So how you can understand this one is very simple. See, in front of you, how we have been done. So create first one method, next another method, third method, and method overloading completed. Same one constructor, second constructor, third constructor, all done. Debug the, keep the debugger pointer, and then try to debug this. That's it. This is very simple, very easy to do it. So that is, but only the thing is, until you understand the concept and implement it, you will not understand that. And when you're calling these particular things in another class, now for an example, now I wanted to call this particular object. For an example, in Aurangzeb, I wanted to call this one. So now I wanted to call this method overloading demo. So share equal to share. So now when we have this one, so because this is in another package, just I'm trying to import that. Okay, so now dot, you can see it here. I'll be having all three methods: add, add, add. Add two variables, add three variables, add two variables with a string, three variables. You can see the class name. So whatever you access, you'll get it over here. That's simple. Now here I wanted to give 100, 200, and 300. Wherever, because you understand the concept in the same, or if at all in the different class, the behavior of thing is same. Now, if you see here, we call the default constructor because this is what it was called for default constructor, and then this is called here. Now, the same program, whatever you have been written here, if you call that, it will be accessed in the same pattern. There is no difference. So if you go here, if I added this one, say constructor overloadings have been called, and these particular method overloadings are called. So if you see here, see first default constructor, bond constructor, bond 00 constructor. Now addition of two numbers, two parameters, and three parameters with a string and three parameters with integer. Same output. So because the way of calling is same. I'm calling it in the class, I'm calling from the outside the class, but it is same. So that's the reason the behavior, everything is same, nothing will be changed. The output also will be changed, same, nothing will be different over there. So now anywhere you created this one, if you wanted to pass a parameter and call this constructor, according to that constructor it will come and then it will execute and then it will go on. So this is where, so inside the class, outside the class, it performs the same way for the non-static variables and non-static methods. When it comes to the constructor or when it comes to the method level also. So this is how this could be executed. Any questions? So tomorrow we will be continuing with the overriding. So how to do it with the across the classes? So that across the classes is especially in terms of inheritance, we will be having the same. So now we have the question, right? If I have two classes, in two classes, if I have same method names, so how I should call it? Or which one will come and then it will execute it? So that is what overriding means. See now this is overloading and that's a overriding. So that concept we'll discuss tomorrow in detail. But before coming to the class, you implement these all overriding concepts and then overloading concepts implementation and prepare for the overriding and then come for tomorrow's session. Guys, I'm saying once again, so these are very, very important sessions. If you guys are missing one session and then coming back and tracking for the next session, it is not easily possible because there are more and more information will be there. So don't miss the sessions. And if you miss it, so definitely you will be blocked, not now, in future when we go for this evening. That's it for the day. Have a great day. See you all tomorrow. Bye.